And here is Joy Reid saying all that Stephen Miller and President Trump and Pete Hegseth are trying to do is delete black and brown people. Cut 22.
The people who now no longer have to worry about competition to get into Harvard and Columbia and Yale, or to get the jobs they want, or the military appointments that they want, or the jobs in the Trump administration that they want. They don't have to worry about competition from black and brown people, because Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth from Fox and all the other people who are unqualified for their jobs are deleting all the blacks and the browns and making sure that they all get deported and locked up so that they don't have to compete and cannot compete with the people who, frankly, aren't qualified but have the right complexion for the connection when it comes to MAGA.
She actually has it entirely backwards. I find this this little rant she gave was odious in so many ways. First of all, yeah, people are getting locked up. Otherwise, they'd be going to Harvard. Please give me a break, okay? Like, if you're shooting people in Washington D.C., you weren't on the precipice of discovering the cure for cancer or waiting for your MIT
Highly
scholarship
unlikely,
to come
yes.
through. Yeah, I'm sorry. So that is just insane, and that's a crazy person talk. But what she's actually addressing here is we are finally and I'm going to say this: boomers didn't deal with this. You boomers. You actually, now, not you listening, but boomers in general created this world of racial preferences, but they didn't have to themselves deal with that world of racial preferences in college admissions. Like when your dad, Clay, and my dad, and when they were going to schools and trying to apply for jobs, Elizabeth Warren's routine wasn't something that they were as concerned with, okay? I mean, it was the beginnings of these things, but it ramped up dramatically, whereby you had people, and I wonder, when did Elizabeth Warren check Native American on that? Was it in the 90s? Was it in the 80s? When did she check?
As soon as she could get an advantage competitively on her career,
right,
that she said she was a Native American.
I mean, boomers and the silent generation, they didn't deal with this. Let me just point this out. What Joy Reid doesn't understand the basic reality of what affirmative action was, which was the affirmative action regime that you and I, when we applied to college, was very strongly in place, meant that in my class, Black and Latino students in my scholarship school, for example, where the average income was actually the average household income, which in New York means half, really, of the average household income. A lot of low-income kids in my class. If you were Black and Latino, it was which Ivy League school do you want to go to? Basically, just by being in that class, there was an assumption that you were going to get into an Ivy League school. Some of them would get into all the Ivy League schools. If you were Asian or white, it was, do you have a 1,500 plus in the SAT? If not, don't even think about it. What Joy Reid, and she went to Harvard, of course, what Joy Reid is lamenting here is the end of students who have a 1,100 on the SAT who are Black getting into Harvard. That's what she's actually lamenting. That was racist then. It is racist now. That should not happen. But that's what was happening for decades. So let's just call it what it is. No more Latino and Black students who are in the middle range nationally of SATs going to a top 5 school. That's ending now, or it should be ending now based on the law.
There's actually, I want to play a cut here in a sec, but this is building on Mike Gallagher, who we've had on the show before, used to be a congressman from the Green Bay area, I think of Wisconsin, has a really good piece in the Wall Street Journal this morning, which says, hey, while we're examining all these Ivy League admission rates, maybe we should have a national conversation about why 30% of all Harvard undergrad admits are foreigners and why 40% of Columbia admits are foreigners. If we are giving all of these universities such huge federal subsidies, and if we believe that their educational merit and value is so extreme that it is a tremendous opportunity to get into these schools, shouldn't we be educating American citizens instead of educating kids from other places around the world and sending them back to their home countries?
I find this is an absolute betrayal by our American university system. It's appalling. By the way, I do not give $1 to my college. I will not give $1 to my college. I disagree. And people say, oh, but look what they did for you. My parents paid like $60,000 a year for me to go to that place. We're good. Okay, we're square. I don't give them
Yeah.
any money. I disagree with what they do. I disagree with their philosophy. But that's true of so many of these schools, Clay. A lot of these so-called elite institutions, they're training, and especially when you get into the higher technology and higher math and physics institutions out there like MIT and Caltech and these places, they're training kids from Beijing who go back to Beijing.
Yes.
And they're doing this on U.S. soil with U.S. taxpayer subsidies, massive subsidies for the whole thing.
Yeah. It's a big deal, and it should be talked about more. I knew the numbers were substantial. 40% of Colombia is foreigners. When you wonder how in the world do they end up being so profoundly anti-Semitic, and who are the kids that are taking over that campus and protesting and everything else, a lot of them are foreign. But I wanted to play this because we talked about young men and sort of the cultural awakening that is happening for white, Asian, Hispanic, black young men. This clip has gone viral. I don't know if you've seen it, Buck. There's a couple of segments here. This is Amanda Seales, who is a black radical, getting absolutely schooled by a young black conservative in one of these debate setups. Listen to this kid just absolutely let her have it. Here is the first one, cut 26.
You can give everyone here like a $50,000 check, especially people that are in the streets who are committing violent crimes consistently. A $50,000 check, it's not going to fix anything. It's not going to increase the median household income in the next 10 years by 10% or 20%. For example, we have the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that black people kill each other, according to the FBI?
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start there, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way.
Listen to this second part too, Buck. So he's saying the truth, which is, as Heather McDonald laid out, hey, black people are actually being killed by black people. Why is the focus on white oppression? And he also pointed out Asian people have been discriminated against quite a lot in this country and actually are the highest earning income group of anybody in America. Cut 27. Play this too.
Comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all. No one here is
Are you
being
acting
impinged on
right now?
anything.
Do you
I'm
really
not, I'm
believe
telling
this?
the truth. There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America. What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories, using black-only dormitories because black people feel safer amongst each other. But they're more likely to kill each other than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping about killing other black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
This conversation has gone mega viral. I just wanted to play a cut for you. There are lots of young men out there that in the wake of COVID, I think this is tied in, Buck, feel like they have been lied to by positions of power, people in positions of power, and they're looking for the data themselves. And you heard that woman say, well, statistics lie, and he's just sharing the actual factual data. There are tons of them out there. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, desperately searching for the truth. And a lot of the truth they're finding is different than what they've been told, and they are rebelling against those in power. And I think that's really what you're seeing from this younger generation.
Our federal government has a spending problem. We know this. Trump's trying to rein things in. He's also trying to super boost the economy with growth to try to deal with this. But the reality is we're going to continue to have a massive debt problem for years, if not decades to come, unless a funding solution comes along. And this is where Jim Rickards has an idea. A 50-year government insider, Jim Rickards, has advised 4 presidential administrations. And he says President Trump is on the verge of a breakthrough that could help our federal budget tremendously. Rickards is on the record saying America is anything but broke, and he thinks that investors who understand why could make a fortune in the months ahead. If the Trump administration's future move in this regard is correct, it could actually solve the government's coming problems when it comes to the debt and spending. Jim Rickards believes if you're over 50, this could be your best chance to create lasting wealth regardless of your politics. For the full story and learning how you could profit, go to birthright2025.com today. That's birthright2025.com, paid for by Paradigm Press.